Good evening and welcome to the KTLA News at 6. I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Brandi Hitt. This was around 2 a.m. Two police units responding to a robbery call collided, killing one of the officers.
It happened here in Southern California, and it all came to an end today as Prince William and his new wife Kate took off on a British Airways flight.
Dave Beacom is live from Collier too. Now they can sleep. They're probably fast asleep on that plane.
Yeah, that's not a typical British Airways flight. That's obviously a private jet for them.
It'll be nice. And you know they may be royalty, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to get their hands a little dirty.
That's right. Prince William and Catherine showing a bit of their artistic side as they painted and made pottery with children in the Skid Row area today. Chip Yost has more. Or the pictures probably say that is definitely the case.
Definitely. What a beautiful weekend for the royal couple to come to California. Great.
Yeah, and Jim Castillo was back after that.
Celebrations continue in South Sudan, the newest country that is in Africa. Take a look. Now, Sunday night talks, well, they are over the country's debt crisis, have ended, and guess what? We still have no agreement that's been reached.
Yeah, leaders of both parties apparently digging in to promote their positions. Reporter Barbara Hall looks at what this means for the federal debt ceiling. Now for this week's Gospel Sunday, the ministry and music of New Antioch Church of God in Christ is rooted in convention.
Gail Anderson takes us to this church in South LA for a look and, of course, a listen. Awake and full of energy now. Now you are.
Was that a service or was that a aerobics class? That was pretty amazing.
It was entertaining, definitely.
Yeah, it was.
And if we think our weather's great right now, you have to feel for the people in Florida. They are getting dumped on.
Oh, yeah. Live there, done. Then again, that's an insult, so.
Oh, yeah. You don't want to say that to the ladies at the Roller Grill Club. Well, if you look around these days, you're going to see, it does seem that a lot more people are getting tattoos.
Yeah, but only one man has ink that actually turns into a cartoon. You don't believe that?
No.
Take a look. Create all kinds of animation that can link to it.
Glenn, you going to sign up for that one next time you go in for a tattoo?
Not happening.
Well, coming up here at 6 o'clock, get ready to shell out more cash for services. We're going to tell you which local city where residents are already paying more ahead at 6:30.
And the royal visit is history. Parents after appearance for the royal pair here in Southern California, but today it all came to an end.
And they're probably exhausted. Just after 4 o'clock, Prince William and his new wife Kate took off from LAX, as we said, on a British Airways flight destined for England, home. Dave Beacom, no matter what the psychic
Well,
says,
they photograph well. I mean,
they look happy.
They do.
And they probably are exhausted, as we were saying earlier. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
I think they're probably passed out on that plane right now.
Yeah, and they're very happy that...
Tragedy on the streets of Alhambra, a crash involving two police officers. It cost one of those officers his life.
Our David Begnaud is at the Alhambra. Authorities need your help right now finding a man suspected of sexually assaulting a woman in Florence today. According to the LA County Sheriff, the city of Glendale has an $18 million budget gap. So guess what? Residents in Glendale are going to have to shell out more money for city services. And those to do with all the corn afterwards. Throw it on the Barbie and have a nice lunch.
Absolutely.
What a great weekend for a barbecue, too. Beautiful weekend. Yeah. Jim Castillo, I mean, is this anything?
Brandi Chastain took her shirt off 12 years ago.
It was 12 years ago,
wow.
1999.
By the way, the big deal about the sports bra?
Yes.
You see women in the gym back then wearing those all the time without a shirt. It was not that big a deal.
It was a great moment to see,
It was a great moment, though.
Yes, it was a great moment. Hopefully more. Unbelievable win for the U.S. women today.
Can't wait, Steve. Thank you. Okay, what a great weekend as well. Here is your chance to get some fresh produce, support your local farmers, and even stretch your legs. KTLA's Olga Ospina shows us some of the tasty and unique finds over at the Studio City Farmers Market. Thank you. Okay, this was a sight. People were flocking to the Rose Bowl for a piece of San Francisco today. Did you see this? Memorabilia, because we're on our last shuttle flight.
Who went up to the moon and took a piece of the flag? I don't know. Just asking.
Thank you so much for joining us here on the KTLA News at 6 o'clock.
We're going to see you back here at 10 o'clock. And for continuous news updates, just log on to KTLA.com. Have a good Sunday night. We will.
Yes.
I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Brandi Hitt. He was just 26 years old in his second year with the Alhambra Police Department when an early morning robbery call sent Officer Ryan Stringer and another officer on a deadly collision course.
Our David Begnaud is at the scene of the crash.
Well, now to another grisly crash scene. This one in Burbank today that left a pregnant woman dead after her car went off the freeway and hit a tree. Another round of budget talks has led to yet another stalemate in the nation's capital.
Tonight, President Obama met with leaders.
Closer to home, the city of Glendale has an $18 million budget gap. So guess what? Residents in Glendale are going to have to shell out more money for city services. And those
Well, it's getting a little quieter in downtown San Diego these days.
Families and business owners have waited a really long time for what they call a quiet zone to be established to try and reduce the number of horn blasts from passing trains. Jen Carlin has an update for us. Cal State University trustees will vote Tuesday whether to pay the new president of its San Diego campus $100,000 more than his predecessor. Overseas now, celebrations continue in South Sudan, the newest country in Africa. Get hurt apparently if they catch up to you.
As I said earlier, you could actually, maybe you should call them cows, but then that wouldn't be right.
Offensive.
You know
I don't think
saying?
they're going to like it very much, no.
Okay.
One thing we are liking, the weather. Well, hasn't it been a great weekend?
Yeah, it was a great weekend for a running of the bulls here in Los Angeles, if there was such a thing. Jim? All right, it's a chance to get some fresh produce, support local farmers, and stretch your legs.
What a great sight. KTLA's Olga Ospina shows us some of the tasty and unique finds over at the Studio City Farmers Market.
Well, it's not every day that you find a San Francisco cable car in Pasadena, but I actually saw one Friday late on the 101 freeway.
And this is, yes, there's a reason why. It's definitely been the case because a lot of people were flocking all the way to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena to see this special piece in San Francisco, appearance after appearance for the Royal Fair here in Southern California. But today, that visit did finally have to come to an end.
Prince William and his new wife, Kate, took off from LAX late this afternoon on a British Airways flight destined for home, England. Dave Meekum has more on the royal departure.
Wasn't all. They may be royalty, but that also doesn't mean that they don't get their hands dirty.
That's right. Prince William and Catherine showed a bit of their artistic side as they painted and made pottery with children in the Skid Row area today. Chip Yost was also there.
Okay, now to a very odd and unique story. A lot of people have tattoos these days, but this is one you probably have never seen before.
We're going from Kate and William to tattoos, huh? Okay.
It's love.
Yeah, okay. Well, one guy has ink that actually will turn into a cartoon. If you don't believe me, take a look at this. Phone on it, and suddenly Marco's chest becomes animated because the tattoo is a code. Carl and Marco have the ability to create all kinds of animation that you can link up to.
Unique.
Yeah.
Different.
Very.
Don't think we're getting one of those, Jim.
Again, it's been doing that this entire summer.
But it's good to have some change a little bit so we're not too hot, we're not cooking.
Yes, and natural air conditioning is going to kick in again.
Sounds good.
Good
Thank
deal.
you, Jim.
Yeah.
The shuttle Atlantis has docked at the International Space Station. Did it earlier today.
Yeah, this was the 12th and final time a shuttle will ever link up to the orbiting lab. The Atlantis.
You have to do it on one of the roller coasters at the same time. That would just be mean.
That would not be good.
No.
All right, 7-Eleven stores across the U.S. and Canada will be celebrating the company's 84th birthday tomorrow, July 11th. Get it? 7-Eleven.
And you are invited to this birthday bash. You even get a gift. 9
or 10 years old.
And then you're wired on sugar all day long.
A friend of mine's dad took us out. I thought it was the greatest thing I ever sipped into my mouth.
They're so good. Well, go out and get one. And thank you for joining us here at 10 o'clock this Sunday night. For news updates, of course, throughout the night, you can log on to KTLA.com.
And be sure to wake up to the KTLA Morning News. That begins at 4:30, but don't go anywhere because coming up next, Steve Hartman is here with Sports Final.